The happy world of 5FM, your adult contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the global village.
Good evening, this is the 5FM Radio Main News. The headlines. President Hichilema calls for increased intra-African investment. Zaka develops national occupational standards for energy sector. And Uganda's military chief denies army assaulted Bobi Wine's wife. This bulletin is also streaming live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia, and live on our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. With the details, my name is Lance Sannie Banda. President Hakainde Hichilema has emphasized the need to promote investment within Africa, stating that development efforts should focus on Africans doing business with fellow Africans. Speaking when an Intercom Holdings delegation paid a courtesy call on him, President Hichilema noted that Africa remains one of the continents that conduct the least business within itself. He said this is a situation his administration is determined to change. The head of state stressed that the vision of the current government is to encourage stronger intra-African trade and investment in order to drive sustainable economic growth across the continent.
Almost near nothing business with each other. We who you have elected into offices want to change this situation. When we talk Burundi economy, Zambia economy, when we talk of growing the African economy, and therefore invariably we talk of investments in different sectors, we want to see investments in the context of Africa with Africa. African business people in Burundi, African business in common ground, and I'm glad that you've already talked about initiatives.
In his remarks, Intercom Holdings chairman Mr. Adrian Tigachika President Hichilema for a warm reception and the government support for investment. Mr. Tigachika disclosed that Intercom Holdings is a diversified group of companies with interest in fertilizer production, logistics, packages, and banking with insurance, among other sectors.
We are coming here to manifest our interests of working in Zambia. Itacom Holding is a group of companies in fertilizers, logistics, packaging, banking, insurance, multiplication and the research of seeds and cement factories in Burundi. Currently, we are in Tanzania. We are operating in Tanzania, in Kenya.
Meanwhile, Burundi's ambassador to Zambia, Her Excellency Mrs. Evelyn Butoi, said the high-level visit by Intercom Holdings demonstrates the company's strong commitment to investing in Zambia and contributing to national development and job creation.
Fidi Mtolo, my brother, acknowledge also distinguished delegation from Intercom Holding, led by Mr. Adrien CEO, a leading Pan-African company in the fertilizer sector seeking to invest here in Zambia.
The Zambia Qualifications Authority, Zaka, has embarked on the development of National Occupational Standards, NOS, in the energy sector as part of efforts to support the government's energy expansion agenda. Zaka Director General Messi Ngoma says achieving the government's target of adding over 2,600 megawatts of power to the national grid by the end of the year requires a competent, adaptable, and industry-responsive workforce. Mrs. Ngoma said this when she officiated the opening of a workshop for the development of national occupational standards in the energy sector. From the Ministry of Energy, academia, and the energy industry, noting that the development of relevant ready skills has become more urgent than ever. She said participants at the workshop will develop occupational standards for 6 critical occupations, namely renewable energy engineer, energy policy analyst, nuclear scientist, smart grid technician, energy efficiency specialist, and power systems engineer. The Director General emphasized that under the Zambia Qualifications Authority Act number 8 of 2024, ZACA is mandated to ensure that qualifications attained by Zambians are relevant, of high quality, nationally comparable. She explained that central to ZACA's mandate is the development of national occupational standards, which define the competencies, knowledge, and skills required for specific occupations and serve as an industry blueprint for skills development.
National grid to achieve this and to sustain the infrastructure being built, we cannot rely on yesterday's skills. We must embrace a diversified energy mix, expand renewable energy, explore the potential of nuclear science, and modernize our grid system. This is possible without an adequately skilled and future-ready workforce. Engineers, technicians, scientists, and regulators must be trained to right standards with qualifications that are relevant, credible, and aligned to industry needs. Investing in skills development and quality-assured qualifications is therefore not optional. It is central to delivering Zambia's energy ambitions and long-term economic growth.
Patriotic Front PF faction President Robert Chavinga has commended the United Party for National Development UPND government under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema for what he describes as decisive and commendable steps taken to address political ills that once plagued the country. Mr. Chavinga said that since President Hichilema assumed office, Zambia has experienced a notable reduction in political violence and cadreism, particularly in markets, power stations, and government institutions. He added the country has been spared the distressing scenes that previously characterized the political landscape, including the unceremonious intimidation of citizens, and widespread lawlessness that had become normalized under the guise of political power. Mr. Chabunga further noted that even some well-known Patriotic Front PF cadres continue to serve in government, with some reportedly opposed to and even critical of the current administration. Despite this, he said President Hichilema and the UPND government has chosen restraint, respect for the rule of law, and adherence to democratic principles over revenge and political persecution. He stated that this level of tolerance, maturity, and commitment to democratic governances deserves national recognition. United Party for National Development UPND Kawambwa Central Member of Parliament Engineer Nason Musonda has called on residents of Kasama District to vote for the UPND mayoral candidate Mr. Abayo Symposia in the January 29 mayoral by-elections. Sustainable development can only be achieved under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. Speaking during a party mobilization meeting in Lukulu Ward, Kasama Central, Member of Parliament in Kasama Central, Engineer Musonda urged residents to rally behind the UPND. He has encouraged voters to draw inspiration from Luapula province, which elected him as the first UPND Member of Parliament in the province. Engineer Musonda noted that Luapula and northern provinces share strong historical and social ties, adding that the time has come to strengthen the UPND's presence in the region.
Icyalo cyalipirimuka mu mashara dechi pani chafwa pf mulamu sikupali chine ngama mukuvota tamaka mune kuwa wakateka wavateni mpati pani chimochi ayezizauti chawo nayi namba ifota tusakameni bonse mone mupire nabesa tulevombera pamati bakansela nabesa tulevombera pamati Chinga mochishi mwashalila. Alechi karuka pamsaka. Musumba wabwagi. Ole kutika.
Kabwata and Lusaka Central Constituency Development Fund CDF committees have held a joint meeting to deliberate on the implementation of the Presidential Constituency Energy Initiative, a flagship national program aimed at expanding renewable energy generation through constituency level initiative in solar power. The meeting followed cabinet approval of the PCEI, which seeks to develop and employ 312 megawatts of electricity generated from solar energy across the country using the resources from the constituency. Under the initiative, each of Zambia's 156 constituencies is expected to establish a small-scale solar power plant with a generation capacity of 2 megawatts, collectively contributing to the national grid and helping to diversify the country's energy mix. Committee members were briefed that the solar farm developed as income-generating assets, with power sold to the Zambia Electricity Supply Corporation (ZESCO) at an agreed tariff to be determined through existing regulatory frameworks. The sale of electricity to ZESCO will enable local authorities to earn dividends proportional to their equity contribution in the 312 megawatts national solar investment, thereby creating a sustainable revenue stream for councils. Officials emphasize that all local authorities, without exception, are required to allocate 10 million Zambian kwacha per constituency from their 2026 CDF allocation to support the actualization of the solar energy project. The Zambia Police Service in Lusaka has confirmed a tragic drowning incident involving a 2-year-old girl in Kuku compound. Police Public Relations Officer Godfrey Chilavi says the incident occurred between 01 and 02 hours in January 2026 on January 26 and was reported to Mississippi Police Post by the child's mother, Chisala Kalusha, age 32 of Kuku compound. Preliminary investigations indicate that on the night of January 25, 2026, the mother left the child, Loveness Gwanda, in the sitting room with her sibling and went to bed. Mr. Chilavi says around 02 hours, she later discovered that rainwater had flooded the sitting room, submerging the sofas, and that the child had drowned. She says police officers visited the processed the scene before the child was rushed to the University Teaching Hospital UTH, where she was pronounced dead on arrival. The body is currently being kept at the UTH mortuary pending post-mortem examination and burial. Meanwhile, police have opened an inquiry to establish the full circumstances surrounding the incident.
The incident occurred between 01 and 02 hours on January 26, 2026, and was reported to Mrs. Police Post by the child's mother, identified as Chisala Kalusha, age 32, of Kuku compound. Preliminary investigations indicate that on the night, the mother left the child with her siblings in the sitting room and went to bed. Around 02 hours, the mother discovered that rainwater had flooded the sitting room, submerging the sofas, and that the child had reportedly drowned. The matter was reported to the police, who visited and processed the scene.
Up next, the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
The Zambia Consumer Association (ZACA) has expressed deep concerns by reports that expired and ineffective organic base of fertilizer has been supplied to farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program (FISIP) in Muchinga, Northern, Central, and Lusaka provinces. According to ZACA media team, farmers are reporting that the fertilizer is not working after application, with alarming allegations that expired organic base of fertilizer may have been repackaged into new bags before being distributed. If confirmed, this is outright fraud and economic sabotage, and it poses a serious threat to Zambia's food security. FISIP is funded by public resources to support small-scale farmers, not to enrich dishonest suppliers at the expense of farmers' livelihoods and national food production. Zaka is calling on the Zambia Police, the Anti-Corruption Commission and Drug Enforcement Commission and relevant regulators to urgently investigate, seize and test the suspected fertilizer and prosecute all those responsible. Zaka further urges government to immediately suspend the implicated suppliers from FISIP and strengthen quality control mechanisms to protect farmers and the nation's food security.
Expired effective basal organic fertilizer has been supplied to farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program, FISIP, in Mchinga, Northern Central and Lusaka provinces. Farmers are reporting that the basal fertilizer, which is organic, is not working after application. With these alarming allegations that expired have been packed into new bags before being distributed. If confirmed, this is an outright fraud and economic sabotage, and it poses a serious threat to Zambia's food security. FISIP is funded by public resources to support small-scale farmers, not to enrich dishonest suppliers at the expense of farmers.
Ends the business news, and in news from across our borders, Uganda's military chief Muhoozi has denied claims that soldiers assaulted Barbara Kyagulanyi, the wife of opposition leader Bobi Wine, during a raid on their home. Wine, who is in hiding, alleged on Saturday that his wife was officers who assaulted her, taking away documents and electronic items. He said the house continued to be surrounded by the military. Speaking from hospital, Barbara Kyagulanyi said the officers had demanded to know Wine's whereabouts and had assaulted her when she refused. It comes after the recent landslide victory of long-serving leader and Muhoozi's father, President Yoweri Museveni. Wine rejected the results, citing fraud. And in sports news, Copper Queens head coach Nora says she has expanded her scouting network to include players abroad with Zambian roots. Speaking to the first media team, Nora said diaspora players must prove they are better than the local talent if they are to earn a place in the national team. Nora, who has already handed a call-up to France-based striker Samia Piri, emphasized that the door remains open for more diaspora players as long as they are ready to play for the badge. She said the technical bench has extended its scouting reach beyond Zambia to identify eligible players, especially those based in Europe and the United States. Nora explained that commitment, quality and character are the key requirements for any diaspora player, hoping to break into the Copper Queens team. Stand by for the weather report.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 170 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy. Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
Southern, Western, Corporate, Luapula, Northern, and Muchinga provinces, including the western parts of Northwestern Province, mainly cloudy and mild with isolated rain and occasional thunder. Lusaka, Central, and Eastern provinces, including the eastern parts of Northwestern Province, partly cloudy, slightly windy, and warm to mild with isolated rain and occasional thunder. Ends our weather report, and that brings us to the end of the news. But before we go, a recap of the stories that made headlines. President Hakainde Hichilema has emphasized the need to promote investment within Africa, stating that development efforts should focus on Africans doing business with fellow Africans. The Zambia Qualifications Authority has embarked on the development of national occupational in the energy sector as part of efforts to support the government's energy expansion agenda. Finally, in the news, Uganda's military chief Muhoozi has denied claims that soldiers assaulted Barbara Kyagulanyi, the wife of opposition leader Bobi Wine, during a raid at their home. For more news, follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical out of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. My name is Lance Sannie Banda. Enjoy the rest of the evening.